Man, this mid-season finale had heads rolling. Let's talk about the Oval. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to KRSTV. This is your boy Kenny. Now, remember, subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow all the information I have in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And this is the Oval Season 1, Episode 12, and the name of this episode is Hidden Secrets, and this is the mid-season finale. Like I said in that intro, this mid-season finale had heads rolling, and the show returns in May, so I can't wait for the show to come back. But man, this mid-season finale was fucking everything. So let's begin here. The episode picks up where it left off. Tally has committed suicide in the Halston house. Nancy is literally having like a physical breakdown because remember, Nancy has a heart condition. And Sharon, because after Tally had killed herself, eventually Barry and Sharon come downstairs. You know, Sharon tries to aid Nancy, and Sharon says, I need her inhaler. But the inhaler was in her purse, and there was like blood spatter, on her purse. Barry didn't even want to touch it. But so Richard, he pretty much tells him to like, look, go upstairs, get a sheet, and call the police. And what he does is that Richard does go into the bag and gets her inhaler. So that's going on. Then we get a scene. Bobby is at Cal's place. He's, I think, looking for some pain meds because, he's still in pain after being shot. And he's going through Cal's things, and he finds this, cryptic message that's like scribbled in pencil. And he finished scribbling it, and it says, I love you, DW, and I always will. So Bobby has literally figured out what the hell is going on. Finally, Cal shows up and kind of catches him. He's like, what the hell are you doing going through my things? And he's like, I thought I told you to leave. And Bobby's like, I am leaving. And he's like, yeah. And it was nice watching you sleep and all of that. You wearing those tight boxers. I'm like, Cal, you nasty slut. And so all of a sudden, Bobby starts to question Kyle's like, so who's the secret guy? And then, Kyle, and then like Bobby's like, dude, it's plainly obvious. The way y'all ass been acting over the past few months, something's up. And I know it's over some guy. Like, is he a politician? Is he Lizzie's husband? Is he Lily's husband? So that's why you hired me. You want to destroy her. So who got her that designer job working for the first lady? And then Cal has this sinister look on his face. I'm like, Cal, you evil slut. So we come to find out that the whole thing is that Kyle pretty much orchestrated this to destroy Lily because he wants Donald back. And I'm like, I said, this messy bitch. This bitch is evil as hell. And then Bobby was like, you know what? And then he pretty much tells Bobby to get the hell out and I never want to see you again. And he says, see, that's your problem, Kyle. You don't know how to keep your ego in check. And he doesn't. And Kyle literally shows his ass this episode too. But we're gonna get to that. So then going back to the Halston residence, Sharon is, aiding Nancy, telling her to use her inhaler and all that. Sharon's phone is ringing off the hook. And come to find out, it's Kareem. She was supposed to open the store, and my whole thing with Sharon is that, Sharon, why didn't you just tell him over the phone that you had like an emergency situation at the house and told him what happened? I mean, this is your job. But she's like, something's bad here and I'm sorry. And he says that you were supposed to open the store today. You know I have duty with my son. And it's the first, it's the biggest day, and our clients want their medications and all that. And she's like, look, I'm sorry, I'll get there as soon as I can. And Kareem just gets so bothered by her ass that he hangs up the phone. And I'm like, and then I'm like, hey, I get it, but I'm like, Kareem definitely was in his feelings. And it was more than the situation that they were involved in, the fact that she didn't show up on time. So then, Nancy tells Sharon, I'll be okay. You just need to go to work and handle that. Because at the end of the day, she does have a job to do. She pretty much walks, about to go upstairs. Barry's sitting, by the steps. And pretty much she tells him that, look, go look after your mother. I have to go to work. And Barry begins again with the bullshit. Do you know what the hell is going on here? And yet, you will want to go to work, huh? It seemed to me that every time I need you, you always run into him. That damn Kareem. Are you sleeping with him and all this shit? She says, first of all, who the hell are you to say something like that to me? I've never cheated on you. And they go back and forth, and I'm like, Barry is doing the most constantly. And then Richard and Nancy, intervene or whatever. And Richard's like, where's the police? Where the hell is the police? Like, what's going on here? And Nancy pretty much tells Sharon, like, Sharon, just go upstairs and get ready. Do what you got to do. And then all of a sudden, Nancy looks at, if you continue to hurt the people that you love, you will regret it. And I must say, that was so true as to what happens later on this episode. And I'm going to get to that, because that was interesting. So Richard is still asking, where the hell is the police? Barry, did you call the police? Did you call the police? And Nancy was like, he didn't call them. Yeah. Did you hurt Ruth? That big kitchen knife is missing. Where the hell is it? What the hell is going on? Rich was like, Barry, what the hell? We need the police here. Why aren't you calling the police? What the hell is going on? And he says that, look, the reason why I didn't call the police is because Kareem pressed charges on me. So that's the reason why I didn't call him. And Richard was like, man, Kareem is the least of your worries. And I completely agree. Because he don't even know that you done killed the person being a fucking hothead and not using your damn brain. So then we see Lily's in her car and Bobby just lets himself in, and he says, and she's like, get out of my car. And Bobby's like, he's after you, drive. She's like, get the hell out of my car. What the hell, what part of get the fuck out of my car don't you understand? So they go back and forth, and Bobby tells Lily, Kyle is your enemy. He's the one that hired me. And then, like, she's like, so what is this all pertaining to? And he's like, I don't know. See, the problem, Bobby, you're not fully telling her everything. And so then she was like, so great. So first him and now your ass. And she's like, you know what? I'm getting sick and tired of this cloak and dagger bullshit that you guys are pulling. And then he tells her, look, you need to divorce your husband. He's no good for you. And she was like, oh, really? So now you know what's good for me. And he's like, look, I'm just trying to help you. And she says, you know what? I'm going to let you know something. See, I'm a cold-hearted bitch from the Watts. Yeah. And I know exactly what I'm doing. Even when I went into that bathroom with your ass. And those shots where I triggered vital organs? Yeah, I'm about that life. So, get the fuck out of my car right now. And I was like, oh shit, Lily. I didn't know you had this side. I'm like, okay, Lily, I like this shit. Like, Lily is finally giving me something. Now we see she does have a hardcore edge to her. And it's now coming out. But, Bobby, you should have fucking told her everything. But I think eventually all will be revealed. And I also think that the first lady knows about her situation. You know, so I can't wait to see when more is going to be revealed with that. But Lily in that scene showed me, oh, she is sick of the shit and that she's about that life. So that was pretty interesting. So then we get a scene with Donald and Hunter. Donald is debriefing Hunter, and Hunter was like, is Kyle outside? He's like, yeah. He's like, I want to see him. Bring him in here now. So Donald goes to get Kyle, you know, and tells Kyle that the president wants to see you. And he's like, do you want to see me? I'm like, Kyle, you sick bitch. So he goes in and he brings Kyle into the Oval. Hunter tells Donald to leave and, you know, tell him that, you know, we need a moment. He pulls out an envelope and gives it to Kyle. He opens it and it's a picture of Denise. And he says, I want to see her. And he says that, oh yeah, I can make this happen. You know, I know this house in and out. I can make it happen. When do you want her? He's like, I want her today. And, you know, I want her in my bedroom. And he's like, you really can make that happen? He's like, hell yeah, I can make that happen. And he says, and nobody will know about it, especially my wife. He's like, yeah, I can make that happen. You know, he's like, I'm better than Max at this situation. And I'm like, yo, Kyle is an evil bitch. But yeah, shit's gonna get even more interesting with that. So he pretty much is gonna set it up where not only is he gonna bring Denise, but he's gonna work it out where nobody is gonna know that she's there. So then we get a scene with Denise and Hunter. You know, he talks to her on the phone. We come to find out that the stock that he told her to buy is now at $400,000, and she's like, so do you want me to sell? He's like, no, not yet, because I think it's gonna go up. And she's like, oh daddy, you're so good to me, I'm rich. And he's like, yeah, and you're gonna be even richer. And he tells her that I want to see you today. And she's like, why don't you just come to me? She says that, look, the situation prevents me from moving around. But then he tells her that, you know, I got a new guy, you know, working my detail, and I talked to the former president, and I heard he's really good. I'm like, you don't know the half of it. Kyle is a crazy motherfucker, and he's a former ranger just like Bobby, so he knows how to move around without being seen, which makes him dangerous and makes him very fucking lethal. But then, like, you know, Denise was like, but I liked Max. And he's like, yeah, is exactly the point, which is why I removed Max, because, you know, I could tell how the way you used to look at him. And she's like, why are you so jealous? And he's like, because I like to protect what's mine. And he was like, shoot, the main thing you need to be protecting me from is that crazy bitch you married. She was like, she's aggressive like a dude. I was like, yo, Denise. She went there with that shit. I was like, wow, that shit is crazy. But then he lets her know that Kyle will be there soon to pick her up. So we go back to the Halston residence. Barry is in his feelings, packing his shit. I'm like, Barry really got on my nerves this episode. He really did. He's packing his stuff and everything, and he's in his feelings because he thinks his parents believe that he killed Ruth. And he pretty much tells, and Richard's like, look, if you tell me you didn't kill her, I will believe you. And he says, I didn't kill her. But Richard tells him, you killed someone though. And then all of a sudden Richard's like, man, y'all don't give a damn about me. Oh, Richard bucked up and was like, sit your ass down, boy. Me and your mother have done a lot for you to even say some shit like that. So he explains to him, you did kill someone, unbeknownst to you. And he explained that when we were in the car and that gun went off, it went and it hit this man who was a beloved member of the community. You know, it killed him. The bullet traveled into his house and killed him while he was sleeping. And then he says that, look, you know, that gun, I took the gun and I gave it back to Picky, But it looks like, yeah, Piggy's dead. So that's gonna be a whole bunch of mess, and that's gonna even put Barry more and more into some hot shit. And we can see that Barry is completely shooken up after hearing this news from his father. Then at the pharmacy, you got Kareem and Sharon, and Kareem is just in his fucking feelings. He's pretty much saying that, the longer you stay with him, the lower you go and all this shit. And I'm like, Kareem, you got a whole fucking girlfriend and you talking all this shit? But he was also in his feelings because he had to do everything because Sharon was late. And then like they go back and forth, and he mentions that his girlfriend Michelle ended it with him, and she was like, why? And he's like, she found a picture that I keep of you, and she was like, why would you have a picture of me, Kareem? We haven't dated in years. And he was like, yeah, and I can't shake you. I still love you, and I want to be with you. And he was like, hiring you here for this job was a mistake. I thought I could handle it, but I can't. And she was like, so what you saying? You gonna fire me? He was like, no, but due to the circumstances, I can't fire you. But it's just because this situation has just become unworkable. So she was like, oh, so you saying you want me to quit? And he was like, look, this is torture. I can't do this anymore and all of that. And she was like, well, good. And he was like, excuse me? She's like, yeah, now you'll know how I felt all those, back in the day when we were dating. So that whole situation was crazy. So we get a scene with Victoria and her mother. And if you really want to understand why Victoria is such an evil bitch, her mother is vicious. She was nasty as fuck to her, and we literally saw Victoria be reduced to a little girl. Like, her parents really fucked her up, which explains why she's so fucked up with her kids, and why she's fucked up with her husband, and why she has this overwhelming thing to be perfect and to be seen and to be accepted. Like, immediately the mother starts with this shit because Victoria's like, do you like my outfit? And she was like, no, nor do I like that hair. I'm like, damn. Where's the motherly love? No wonder why Victoria can't give that to her daughter. She ain't receive it from her own damn mother. And then she asks about the grandchildren and everything. And then Victoria's like, I can go get them. She's like, oh no, we're going to go out somewhere in public so we can be seen as a family. And then she asks about Jason. And she's like, how is Jason, by the way? Is he, I heard he's still flashing people and all of that. Did you get him under control? And she says yes. And she's like, yeah, okay, whatever, bitch. And then she was like, oh yeah, and your daughter, that whole sneaking out situation. And then she was like, oh, well, that's been taken care of. He's like, oh, I know. I already know that's been handled. So I'm like wondering, how the hell does her mother know all this shit? And then she was pretty much saying, and you up in here screaming and breaking things, looking like a damn fool. Black people, Negroes, that's what they see when it comes to us. And here you are with this white boy that you was messing around with in college, and you came home pregnant. So yeah, so there is no love between Hunter and Victoria because it was arranged from the gate. They had probably had like a little soiree, they had sex, she came home pregnant, and now the family has literally orchestrated this whole family between them. And I'm like, this shit is wicked. And then she says, so here it is. We made that hillbilly a politician, then mayor, then governor, and now president. And now I gotta come here and deal with your ignorant, simple ass. And I was like, yo, her mother is evil. I'm like, damn. And then she explains, your father used to be an accountant for an oil company. He's moved himself up to being a CFO, and now he's CEO. And you got 5 major families that run this country. Your father works for the very top. So we see that it was Victoria's father's connections that got her and Hunter in the White House. You know, they are pretty much the money train that got them there. You know, so really, her parents, well, her dad is literally a black man running the fucking country. Crazy as shit. And then she says, and you can't even control your situation. Your job was to keep his ass in line, but yet this fool is messing with some gutter trash and is giving her tips on insider trading. I'm like, how the fuck does she know this shit? Whoa! I'm like, so they know. See, Hunter think he's so shrewd and that he's covering all his tracks. You don't understand that her father got eyes on you all the fucking time. But then the mother was like, well, that ain't even the worst of it. The most ignorant thing is your stupid ass. Because you obviously don't know how to run your household, and you don't know how to manage shit like you're supposed to. But your father's gonna handle Hunter. And then she lets her know, if I have to come back to this shithole ever again, one of you motherfuckers is gonna die. I'm like, wow. So this was a good scene because it really shows why Victoria is so fucked up, why she's so evil, why she's so nasty. She was never loved by her family. She is only an asset that they can use as a pawn in all of their schemes. And we literally saw how broken Victoria truly is. And in a way, it made me feel sorry for Victoria, because now we get a whole apparatus as to what makes Victoria the way she is. And one is being that damn mother. You can tell that she out of all the siblings, her mother treated her like shit. Which is why Victoria treats her children like shit. The apple didn't fall too far from the motherfucking tree. Then we see that Barry's in his room. He's on his laptop and he's looking at the rally and all of that. And while he's packing his stuff, he moves out the drawer and he sees this box. He opens the box. The bloody knife from the kitchen is in there, which was the knife that killed Ruth. And then there's all the stacks of money. And I'm like, who the hell put that there? And I'm thinking, did Sharon have something to do with this? Like, what's really going on? So he immediately is like panicked when he sees this shit. So then we go back to the Oval. Kyle goes into the Secret Service headquarters and he talks to Sam. He tells Sam, turn off all the surveillance in the president's headquarters and, make sure you remove all the men in that area. And then Sam was like, and whose orders is this? He says, from the president. Sam already peeped Kyle's bullshit from a mile away. He's like, what the hell did you tell the president? He just says that, look, he's the commander-in-chief, and we told him that I told him that, hey, we're here to do what he says. And Sam was like, that's not what we're here. We're here to manage him. And what you're doing is making this shit difficult. I know you snaked your way into taking Max's position, and our job is to make sure he's managed. And then Kyle was like, I don't think he would like that. Because Kyle did, when he was in the office with Hunter, he literally was just boosting up his ego. Oh, you are the commander-in-chief, you are the leader of the free world, and we are here to do what you say, and what you say is law, and our job is to make sure that anything you want, that we execute it. Literally went in there sucking up to him and shit. And I'm like, Cal got a fucking agenda. And it's going to get... I really do think Cal is working for a higher source. And then all of a sudden when Cal and Sam are going back and forth, when Sam lets him know he needs to be managed, Cal is like, I don't think he's going to like that. And he's like, are you threatening me? He was like, no, sir. He's like, and then Sam was like, I'm watching you, you son of a bitch. You know, and he says that, look, the request is granted, but what about the first family? And he's like, oh, we got that under control. Everything's good. Yeah, because Victoria and the grandkids will be going out with their evil ass grandmother. So they're going to be out of the White House anyway. So then back at the pharmacy, Kareem and Sharon, she pretty much gets 2 beers and was like, let's call a truce or whatever. Her phone is ringing nonstop because Barry is trying to call her, but she's ignoring his calls. And, you know, she's just like, you know what? I'm so done. I'm just so done with this shit. You know. And she's like, it's just become too much. And you were right, Kareem. And shit. And then he was like, but hey, what can I say? I can't help who I love and all of that. And then he tells her that I want you and I miss you and all of that. And then she says, you don't really want me. Like, why do you keep saying that? And then he, you know, removes his coat to show her that he got a Woody. He's like, man, it's hard being next to you. I just literally cannot control myself sometimes. I got to make sure that I stand in a certain way where it can't be seen and all that. I'm like, oh, damn, Kareem. You really got it in for Sharon. You want to tear up her box. and he's like, I really do love you. And she's like, yeah, but unfortunately, I love him. And then the next thing you know, he starts pulling in on her. And I'm like, see, Barry, you practically set this shit in motion. You talking all that shit to Sharon, you literally pushed her into Kareem's arms. And Kareem worked his charm. And the next thing you know, they start kissing and shit. And I'm like, damn. And I'm like, see, Sharon, you obviously didn't listen what Nancy told you about you need to be careful about crossing that line because you're getting something that you're not getting from your relationship. And here it is, Sharon and Kareem start making out and shit. And I'm like, oh fuck, it's gonna be some shit. And then we see that Barry's still trying to call her. This crazy motherfucker decides to put the bloody knife, in his jacket pocket. But then again, it's like, question, how the hell did that fucking knife and that money get into Barry's room? Because it's clearly Barry has no knowledge of this. He was shocked when he found it. So we already know Barry didn't kill Ruth. But somebody did. The question is who, and obviously whoever did it was trying to, you know, is either trying to cover their tracks or they're trying to set Barry up. So then he goes outside. The police are there, and they pretty much know his name. You know, Bartholomew Helson. You know, we need to ask you some questions and everything because you're a person of interest. You know, that whole situation with Kareem. And then they asked him, were you at the pharmacy? Tell me why this stupid son of a bitch said no. I'm like, you dumb ass. Not only are there surveillance, but dude, you went to that store and you beat that dude's ass in his place of business. Fucking idiot. And then they tell him to get on the ground and all of that, and he's first resisting, and both Nancy and Richard's telling him, just do what they tell you. Get down on the ground, do what they say, and he says, do you have any weapons? And he was like, no. And then all of a sudden, the guy who was searching him was like, ow, something cut me. They pull out the damn bloody knife. I'm like, Barry, you fucking moron. Why the hell would you put that shit on you? Why would you even touch it? So now Ruth's blood is now on your hands because now your hands is on the fucking knife. And it's got blood on it. I'm like, oh my God, Barry, you are such a cautionary tale. You no different than Benny and Wyatt on the haves and the have-nots. You just deliberate caution and issues no matter what you do. So then we see that Kyle has cleared out the whole presidential area of the White House, and Hunter goes into his room. Damn, damn Denise is literally there, legs spread, ready for Hunter to give her that meat. And she tells him, crawl to me. He crawls to her and everything, and they make out, and then she pretty much talks about the money and like, so tell me, what's the first tip and all of that. And he was like, yeah, I'll definitely tell you about that eventually, but right now we just got to work things out. So Hunter tells her he has to go to the bathroom. Now remember, the only person that knows that they're in that area is Kyle. Hold on to that shit. So Hunter goes into the bathroom. He's still talking, thinking that, she's there or whatever. Talking outside of the door saying that, yeah, this is other stock that I want you to invest in, and I want you to do this and do that. Boom, boom, boom. Then all of a sudden, he's saying that, oh yeah, this guy Cal is everything. He got me everything I wanted, and even got my girl in the president's room. This very same bed that you shared with Victoria's crazy ass. And all of a sudden, his ass comes back, about to get back in the bed, and see that fucking Denise's head has been cut the fuck off. And I'm like, ooh shit. So yeah, that was Victoria's father handling it, but it's literally been kind of revealed that Kyle is working for Victoria's father directly. So I'm like, oh, this is some crazy shit. Yo, that shit had me gagged. I'm like, wow. And the funny thing about it, his ass went in the bathroom, didn't hear anything. You didn't hear her scream or nothing. He come back and her head has been cut off. And I'm like, and the fucking bed is bloody as hell. The president's bed. So I'm like, ooh, this gonna be some shit when it come back, y'all. But that's what I have, y'all. If I missed anything, put it down in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I really enjoy this show. Tyler Perry, you definitely got a banger with this one. And I can't wait till the show returns back in May. So until then, everybody, take care.